5:04, more school districts are making masks mandatory for students and staff this week.
So Westfield, Washington schools just released a video announcing a mask requirement starting tomorrow. Brownsburg schools announced a similar change at last night's board meeting, with masks mandatory starting tomorrow as well. And just last night, Mount Vernon School Board approved a tiered approach to mask mandates. Individual schools may have to require masks if confirmed cases or quarantine absences get too high. So starting tomorrow, everyone at Mount Vernon Middle School will have to mask up for at least 5 days. And these aren't the only changes this week. A handful of school districts flipped to a mandate after originally making masks optional.
Governor Holcomb is lending his support to schools putting mandates in place. He said recently they're making a wise decision when the facts warrant it.
And the current surge of COVID cases is expected to continue and possibly get worse. In fact, some health officials warn that the U.S. could soon hit 200,000 new cases per day as the Delta variant spreads.
All we can say is that this is going very steeply upward with no signs of having peaked out.
Children and teachers returning to in-person learning are getting conflicting messages on masking in some states. The governors of Florida and Texas issued executive orders and banning mask mandates in school. But some districts, including Dallas, Texas, are now defying that order by requiring masks in school. More children are now being hospitalized with COVID. The CDC says those 17 and under were hospitalized last week in numbers 21% higher than the week before.
Students at Shenandoah High Schools in Henry County are back to remote learning less than 2 weeks into the new school year. That's after a number of students and staff with COVID or in quarantine hit 20%. The Henry County Health Department has begun offering drive-through testing at Shenandoah Elementary School. The tests are available to all students, staff, and their families.
So what we're trying to do is test as many individuals as possible so that we can get on top of this, get it under control, and get these kids back in school.
Remote learning at Shenandoah schools will continue through August 27th. We're told all sports and extracurricular activities are also on hold pending any changes from the school board. Less than 2 weeks into a new school year, many families are dealing with students sent home for COVID quarantine.
So the policies, as we've talked about, really can vary between districts. For example, at Mooresville High School, 3 positive cases in the first 8 days of school led to contact tracing for 88 students. 17 do not have to quarantine because they're fully vaccinated. 9th grader Liz Huffman is not vaccinated. She's showing no symptoms but is quarantined for 14 days.
I worry about the mental health impact on not only my kids but other kids too. Just the fact that, like, for her, she can be mostly efficient on getting her schoolwork done, but there is the pressure to still succeed and make, let's say, AB honor roll, and it does lack a little when you're doing it from home.
Liz is a cheerleader and will also miss football team's first game at Lucas Oil this weekend.
In your morning rush, a Brown County school forced to close because of COVID is now back open. Helmsburg Elementary's principal tells us they had 1 positive case in the school, but many others in the district. More than 60 students and staff at Helmsburg Elementary were considered close contacts or were absent with possible COVID symptoms last week. That's about 20% of the school population, so they switched to remote learning for a few days while the school got a deep cleaning. Starting today, you're going to need to be wearing a face mask at Marion County City County Building, the Juvenile Justice Complex, and in traffic court. The new mask mandate comes as Marion County's positivity rate increases. It's now at 10.5%. Remember, the goal is 5% or lower. And the upcoming Tokyo Paralympics will follow the lead of the Olympic Games and ban fans from attending events. No spectators will be allowed at the venues in Japan due to the ongoing pandemic. The Paralympics open on August 24th with over 4,000 athletes. The Paralympics come as new infections accelerate in Tokyo.